It was downloading a feature, apparently. Hopefully this works. It was down. Okay, this is starting to actually really bug me. I don't know why. Let me see if it will let me just add you. And it says invited. Okay. Why is Instagram being absolutely funny? Apparently it was downloading a feature for me to do this live with you, but when I click on like invite guests or accept or things like that, it does nothing. It's absolutely strange. I've checked my connection. My connection appears to be fine, but it just says isn't able to join. Oh no, that was my dog flipping just kicked me. Let me see if it will let me invite. Right, I've sent an invite. Maybe that's possibly why. There we go. Finally it works. I don't know why he was doing that. How's it going, man? How's your day going so far? Apparently Kelly's frozen, so we'll just give him a minute. Hello, Axion. How's it going? I've seen you a few times in the off-rock streams. Welcome, welcome. Is it my connection or is it anyone? Right. I don't know what's going on.
There we go.
Oh. Hey, I think you ought to be frozen on that side for a while. There we go, it stopped.
Yeah. It's not like in either one of us today.
I know. I mean, Mark Wahlberg. Zuckerberg.
No
Why did
worries.
I go Mark
Shout out to
Wahlberg?
Axion. What's up, my brother? Action Figs. I call him Axion. I call you Minix, so I just talk funny.
It's all good, man. I mean, my Knicks was better than Minx any day. So I think I kind of stole that from you. So if anything, I'm going to give you full credit for that.
Perfect.
But how's your day going so far, my brother?
It's going great, man. I have Fridays off, and so I'm just kind of planning out what we're going to do this weekend. We're going to do a live showing of us trying to rebuild the Bandito prototype, which ought to be fun. But you were talking G.I. Joes, and it's near and dear to my heart, and I've got my collection behind me here. And actually, speaking of Axion, he sent this one to us, which is near and dear to my heart because my family's all
the retro gung ho.
So one of my favorites. But yeah,
Absolutely.
a couple. Shipwreck is my newest addition. I think I put him on a motorcycle.
See, I've had the opportunity to pick up Shipwreck, but I kind of hesitate because I was like, all of my Joes are pretty much very decoed in their soldier getup. Like I said, I'm customizing like a bunch of them. So I thought I like Shipwreck because I like his getup, but do I really want to start putting like sailors? Because if so, I'll have to start customizing into like a sailor corps and marines and things like that. I was like, I haven't really got a diet set up for that just yet.
Yeah. You know, I'm just kind of like, I'm so funny because like I just don't want to change the characters at all. I love what people are doing. It's very brave in my opinion what they do.
Yeah.
But I get enough, we kind of do our own thing anyway, so I get enough of that just kind of doing our own thing. So
So I mean, I'm new to the whole like custom side of
yeah,
things. Before I'd only get figures like if it's a high value figure like Serpentor, like this one
yeah,
in the UK, it's near impossible just to get this now. You're
yeah,
going to pay triple its price. So if it's something like that, I won't touch it. I'll like, right, that's staying how you are.
yeah,
But if it's something that I can widely get, for instance, like Snake Eyes, you can get them a dime a dozen
yeah,
these days.
yeah.
Oh,
Back in the day,
I'm
that was
diving
not the
into it.
case. Yeah, yeah. I remember, so like I was probably collecting Joe's, you know, early 80s, mid 80s. When the 3 3/4 came out, that was like, I still to this
Yeah,
day, I don't think there's a greater toy in my opinion. You could put them in the vehicles, they had the guns, like
yeah,
I love G.I. Joe. And my favorite Snake Eyes was the second one. I think it was the second one that came out that came with Timber. And he had the visor and he had some gray decos on him and stuff. Like that was my favorite one.
right.
Basically,
I'm gonna say my first exposure to GI Joe was the early 2000s movies when they came out
yeah,
from Paramount, I think it was, or Paramount, I think it was Paramount, possibly, I think so.
that sounds
And they did the little movie figures back then, and I used to have all the vehicles. Like I had the Nightbird, the Mars rover that they did in the Paris chase scene, and that was my first sort of exposure to that world of GI Joe. And I was like, Snake Eyes instantly became my favorite one because he was
yeah,
that mysterious character and things like that. And these days, whenever I see like, even if it's a GI Joe classified or anything like that, if it's Snake Eyes, I'm gonna buy it. They've
yeah,
got me by the balls on that one.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm the same way. He was my favorite, and it's the same thing. It's that mystery. I think I'm like even bands I like are like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they don't give away the farm, and you're left to kind of wonder who is that and stuff. And Snake Eyes has always intrigued me that way. He's the ninja. He's the stealthy one. I mean, and then just the fact that he doesn't talk. It's so enigmatic.
exactly.
You know? Yeah.
It's really like it's awesome as well. So, I recently watched the Resolute movie because a lot of people recommended that cartoon movie that they did several years ago, and I
Yeah.
was like, that movie is so good. Why have Hasbro not done a figure
Yeah.
based around that movie? I know they've got like your modern sort of updated bit going on that's doing okay for them now, and then they do like retro stuff like back to the 80s. And I'm like, there is an in between there already between the Resolute movie, and I think even though it's a niche movie, those figures will sell.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I guarantee they will.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of the generation
Sorry, I've
that's
got
like, go
absolute
back to
junk
the
everywhere
old
at the moment
Joes and
because I'm
that.
customizing figures currently.
But the movies were okay in my opinion. I thought they were fairly good. I thought they, did it justice to a certain degree, but it's like it could be better.
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah,
mean, I didn't I didn't mind the new Snake Eyes movie. I thought it was an okay movie, but it shouldn't have been a Snake Eyes origin movie. I think it
yeah,
just should have been its own thing, just sort of like I think they approached it very wrong, and the fact that like he only put on the iconic ninja mask and stuff like that at the very end of the movie when the marketing for that movie heavily implied he was going to be in the ninja get up
yeah,
throughout the majority.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, that's cool. You set up sort of an idea between who Snake Eyes is, what his origin was, that's fine. But then again, Snake Eyes was the kind of character that you didn't need to know much about his origin to sort of like get that cool factor. That was part of his cool factor, that he's just this mysterious ninja
yeah,
guy who kicks absolute ass. And like,
yeah. I
it's a
mean,
bit like Doctor Who in a way. You don't need to know so much about the main character, and that gives him that mystique motive. And I'm like, that's what's appealing to it. Yeah, drop
totally.
little nuggets here and there, but you don't need it.
I was just talking about this with my uncle the other day. What I liked about the Denzel Washington, um, the movies where he plays the character from the '80s TV show. Why can't I think of it right now? There's three of them. Anyways, he
Sorry,
plays this character that gets
Kelly,
revenge.
you're breaking up a bit there. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's my
Okay.
signal or yours.
Let me give it a second here and see if it helps. You're a little choppy.
It's caught up a bit. Audio-wise, you're caught up, but your picture and all that is all frozen and whatnot.
Okay. But one of the things I loved about this Denzel Washington movie, who's the name is escaping me right now, but it's from an 80s TV show, and they're about to come out with a third one. But they never really tell you his origin. He has these quirks, and he looks at his watch, and right before he kills all these dudes, and the Equalizer.
I was thinking that, is it the Equalizer, or is it, I'm trying to think, there's another one that's basically like it. I think it's like The Handyman or something. I can't think of what it was actually called.
Man on
but
Fire
right,
was a lot like that, I think. By the way, what's up, Clanable?
I'm sorry, guys. I forgot. I got lost in conversation there. Clanable, Axion, how's it going?
But
I suck at lives.
I was just talking to my uncle about this. It's like they do such a good job of like not telling you anything about him, but they give you these little hints and clues. Okay, he's some kind of like elite military guy. He checks his watch. He has all these quirks, but you never see his origin. And it's like, I wish they would have done something more like that with Snake Eyes, where they keep that mystique. We don't, exactly what you said. We don't need to see everything. It's better if we
Exactly. Don't. And one thing I definitely felt when it came to Snake Eyes movie, it went from one scene to the next. It just jumped all of a sudden. I was like, there is clearly something missing here. Something got cut. And it's like you blink and it's gone. Like, I remember there was at like the clan headquarters and whatnot, one scene talking about, the Yakuza guy's been spied in the city or something like that. And then all of a sudden they're on a rooftop observing him. And I'm like, okay, how? How did you get there for one? What's led you to get there?
Yeah.
Something is missing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many action movies like that where the editing is just, it's like, well, let's just chop out a large part of the story. Nobody needs to know that. And it's like, what? How did he get on there? Like, how did he get there?
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, it's an okay action movie in of itself, but I don't think it should have been Snake Eyes. I think maybe if they called it like the origin of Storm Shadow, because I think it was heavily focused on Storm Shadow himself more than it was Snake Eyes. But even then, I thought even the Storm Shadow's character, I was like, he came across as like a mini Kylo Ren, just a petulant child. He's like, no, all the time. And I'm like, dude, calm down.
Not a deep and well-written character, you know? Have you seen the original
and I was like,
G.I. Joe movie? The cartoon?
No, I have been watching the cartoon a little bit. Because obviously, as I said, I'm moving everything over to Japan really soon, so everything's kind of everywhere at the moment. So when I do get time, I'm just sort of like dabbling into the cartoon. I think I'm about 5 episodes into the original cartoon now.
Nice.
But
Hasbro, I think during COVID, put it out for everybody on YouTube to watch. And I mean, I just watched it on repeat while I would draw or be doing stuff like that. And I think it still holds up. Like, I really like it as a cartoon. And talk about Japan. I mean, I'm pretty sure the studios that drew and animated that stuff were from Japan in the day. Same with Transformers. I mean, it's our early American version of anime in a way when I look back on it now, like Robotech or stuff like that.
And the signal's going again. I think it might be me.
I have full bars, but it doesn't mean anything.
It's possibly me, because I said I cancelled my internet service provider, so they've given me, I think I literally had like an email today saying like, we'll keep it on for 30 days and then it's completely cut off.
Probably drop it, you know, the amount
it's probably
of data that you're...
them lowering my speeds.
Yeah. Well, listen, bro, I'll let you go. Great chatting with you. I would say real quick before I go, my other near and dear to my heart Marine Corps G.I. Joe is Beachhead, and I cannot find him. You know, it's like $120 and I can't find him, and I'm just like, man, I'm not going to pay $125, which like now you know, we're a small nobody toy company, but like now I'm like, really, am I going to give $120 to my perceived competitor?
Yeah, I do really want to get Beach Head purely because I want to give him like this green vest because I think this vest will be a lot better for him.
That's
And
rad.
I'm not paying like triple its price. I actively refuse to pay triple prices for figures these days. It's
You
just not
you
feasible.
might have to once you get to Japan, bro.
Well,
Do you
ironically,
watch? Do
Japan's
you
distribution
watch?
is somewhat better because
Really?
my cousin-in-law lives over there, and he also collects. He mainly collects Transformers and things like that, but he also imports a lot of them from like mainland China and like stuff like that. And he says it does get there somewhat relatively quick. So you do pay a little bit extra to import stuff, but
Do you
it's
watch the
kind of one
YouTube
of them.
channel Modeling Behavior or Model Behavior?
David displays model
That's
behavior.
yeah,
I've dabbled with his channel a little bit before, yes.
because he's back in Japan now.
That's that's cool. I might have to, depending on where it is. I'm very up north, like very northern
Okay.
Japan. I'm pretty much near on a separate island to the mainland. It's very near to that.
Okay. We'll have
Literally,
to ship you your bandito special delivery.
and well, I think I've got 4 on order at the moment, so I've still got 8 more to order, but obviously I need to update everything once I'm over there.
Bro, fantastic. And you know what? Once we get to 1500, let's talk because I'd like to drop that down for you if that's what you're doing. So, I mean, we've accounted like basically every penny for getting it to people.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that, like I would like to have a separate talk with you about like small distribution or something. See if we can't work out something.
That's absolutely great. I really appreciate that. I'm getting like 4 for myself personally because I've got like way too many ideas to customize that thing already. Like every day
That's
when
the
I look
idea
at
though, bro.
like your Instagram and things like that, and I look at it and think I can do something with that. And then I jot it down in my head. I'm like, right, I can customize that bit. I know exactly what the theme is going to be for that one. So I'm like, right, that means I'm going to have to buy another one because I've got another idea for this thing.
Well,
And then
now
I think
wait a
2
minute,
more for a
Andrew.
couple of friends of mine.
Wait a minute though, because the idea is that later you're just going to be able to have to buy the body, right? For much cheaper. If you just want to switch out bodies, the whole idea is that you shouldn't have to buy, you know, if you want to do 2 separate whole ones or 4 separate ones, great. We love that. But the idea is that you can get 1 or 2, and then we provide you the access to the body, all the different parts, you know, in separate kits so that you can switch them out and not have to pay the 185 every single time.
Oh no, I'd rather pay for the whole thing. 'Cause at the end of the day, I want to support you guys fully because, like, I believe in your projects and things like that, and I've seen the amount of detail and thought that you bring into these kinds of things, and it's very inspirational to me because, like, when I bought like this, for instance, like your bad van is like the heavy inspiration for this alone. Like,
Wow, that's cool.
so when the bad van drops, I'm probably going to even order more than the bandito. So I've just got
Well,
like I always get these inspirations and like as I said, I want to support you guys as much as I can, as best as I can. So I'm more than happy to pay above and beyond the retail price and the shipping price and things like that because I believe in this sort of thing. And I'm like, even though I've only got a small platform myself, I'm starting to upload a bit to my YouTube and things like that. I'm in a lot of groups. I always share things to groups as and when I can. And it's just all about that. And I think the more people get together in these kinds of things, the more success it'll be. Because at the end of the day, we're all collectors. We all enjoy this hobby. And we need more independent companies out there supporting this hobby. Because otherwise, Hasbro will just end up being the kingpin of it all. And we're going to be limited by whatever Hasbro wants to do. So I'd rather support an independent.
you know, I mean, that just, it just, I love that so much, Andrew, and I appreciate that so much. And you've been around since the beginning, like Clanable and stuff like that. And I mean, we wanted to work in toys. That's why we went to the design school we did. That's why I went to Mattel, even though I felt like I sold my soul for the few years I was there. But it's like we want to
I
build what we want to
was the
build.
same.
Yeah. we want to build what we want to build, and like it's going to need that kind of passion for people to understand, I think, what we're trying to do, because I think what moving forward for Odd Frog, just to steal your show for a second. Sorry, I'm a hopeless self-promoter.
No, plug your show, man. I mean, I appreciate you even coming on. I mean, you've got a way bigger platform than me at the moment, so you're also helping me out a little bit as well. But I invited
Oh, bro,
you on here,
yeah,
so
thank you.
plug
I
yourself, dude.
appreciate that.
Talk about it.
But okay. So moving forward, one of the things that we've talked about, Eddie and I specifically, is that certainly we're a smaller company, so it allows us to do certain things, whereas maybe if you have to remain at this certain level all the time, you make adjustments for things. Certainly
And the audio's going again.
my bad, bro. I'll wait for a second. I'm trying not to move too much.
It's okay, man. I think it's definitely me, so I'm not gonna blame you for it. It's probably definitely me.
No worries. I think, like, one of the things we were talking about on our last podcast was that, like, we had to design the car knowing that people were going to tear it apart and look at the inside. So nothing can be, every piece has to be designed, so to speak. Like, you can't just make a working part, and if it's thin around the edges and people are pulling it off and on, like, that's not going to work. So what we're hoping to do moving forward is make things that would be hard to emulate. So yeah, you can take a car and you can take the HasLab car and you can reproduce that exact same thing. But if you're trying to do what we're going to do, you have to know the inside of that car. You have to kind of really go through the motions of what is it, the collector that's going to be breaking this car down multiple times going to face? Is that piece going to hold up over multiple reconstructions of the car? So, you know, we really appreciate you, Andrew, and guys like Clanable and all that for, like, understanding, like, we're building a watch here, kind of, you know what I mean? It's not an everyday collectible, in our opinion.
The way I look at it, I mean, I'm a sucker for detail. Like,
Me
as you
too.
can tell with my little van project here, I'm still not happy with it, despite the fact that I'm still fiddling around with it. I've got the base of it, but I'm looking at all these little details, because in my head canon, the way I'm looking at this story behind this van is a massive near world-ending event has happened. Cobra's kind of took over, and now the Joes are scattered, and they're kind of living in this van here. And I'm like, right, so he's going to need a bed in there that he's going to sleep on, or a bench or something. He needs his guns that he needs his access to for a quick dogfight should he need to. And it's little details that you put into, like, say, your bandito and things like that. And you're not also just thinking, I'm just going to make a shell of a car, and at best it'll have lights. Whereas you've kind of broke it down. You saw, right, well, a customer is going to be like, well, I want to change the bumper or something like that. I want a low riding bumper or something like that. Or I want to go for a post-apocalyptic theme, so I'm going to change it to sort of like a Ford grill and things like that. And that's what I love about it, the fact that you just can break it down and make it how you want it. You're only limited by your imagination for it.
I have to give a lot of credit to Eddie on this one, because, like, for me, I'm like, no, let's make the toy look as badass as possible, and let's have it shine in the light and all these things with a matte black finish. That's really not going to happen. And Eddie kept kind of driving home, like, no, dude, no, this is not going to be on the shelves. This is going to be for customizers. And I don't know that I really understood that concept until a couple months in, when I started seeing what he was talking about and we got closer to the prototype and stuff. I was like, oh, these guys aren't interested in buying another Batmobile necessarily. They're interested in making their own. So yeah, I gotta give a lot of credit to Eddie on just holding fast to his vision of letting people design it themselves. And, like, that's kind of a scary thing to do.
I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, you can see the passion that you guys have for this, and the collecting community as a whole, which I think is absolutely amazing. I look for that in, like, independent companies that I support, like Ramen Toy and Valaverse and things like that. Yeah, you can look at Hasbro, and they're just big billion-dollar corpo who just thinks, right, you're a demographic number, whereas you guys and things like that, you're in these communities and you know what they want, and you open your ears to them and you take the feedback and you think, right, yeah, we can potentially do that and things like that. And I love things like that, and it makes me want to support them even more for that. At that point, again, I'll build an example saying, like with Valaverse, in the UK, we can't get Valaverse here at the moment. So we pay so much more than what a retail would typically. But I'm like, it's worth it to me because one, it's quality.
Yeah.
He assures quality reassurance. I've got the proof in front of me. He listens to criticism, things like that.
Yep.
And if there's a fault, he takes it, addresses it, and fixes it. And I see that with you guys. I'm like, when the Kickstarter initially happened, you was taking on all these comments and things like that. And yeah, there were some bad eggs in there. People just dogpiling on for the sake of dogpiling and saying you're a wannabe engine of greed. And I was like, no, if you actually look into it, you guys, you can see that, one, these guys really actually want to do this, whereas HasLab, they could have done that regardless of a crowdfund.
Yep.
These guys are two people that just really want to bring something to this community. And I think the more you keep at that sort of mentality and things like that, and the more people get noticed by it, you have every chance of success. I mean, I wish you all the best of success, and I'll be there every step of the way, regardless of it.
You know, Andrew, it means so much to hear that from you because, like, we're kind of in the dark when it comes to that stuff. I mean, we get people's feedback and stuff, and we're inspired by that. But really hearing your thought process on that and stuff, just like that's our thought process too. And we're probably going to double down on that whole idea. Like, I think when you start a company, you don't necessarily think, hey, let's share everything with everyone. But it's ended up how our business has had to evolve. And we've kind of embraced it, I think. And it just, it really warms my heart to hear you say that, because that's where we're going to be pushing things. And I 100% agree with you with Valaverse. I mean, I love what that person's doing. I'm trying to stay away from anything military, even though that's where my family and background is from. Not mine personally, but, you know, everyone I know. Yeah. Because, first of all, I want to create something a little bit different anyways. Yeah. But he's doing it so well, like, there's no market room for us in that world as far as I'm, because how could we make that better? There's really no way to do that, you know, with what we have capable. And I agree with you that he's essentially doing, you know, and he's before us. So I don't want to claim anything. I'm just saying, like, he's doing it how we would want to do it, I think, which is, you know, if we get to the point where we don't have to crowdfund, we're going to take risks, because that's what early Mattel did. That's what a toy company should be about. You should have the conviction of your design to a certain degree. So why Hasbro does that is, I think they're playing it safe when they should be a little more risky and stuff. So yeah, but it warms my heart to hear you say that, bro. Sorry for the diatribe.
No, don't worry about it. Like I said, I love hearing you guys talk. I mean, when I watch like your live streams or your podcast episodes and things like that, and I watch and I'm actually genuinely listening, like, I tune everything out so I can just hear like the passion of it, and I relate to you on an even more deeper level as a toy designer myself, because I used to work for Spin Master way back years ago. I used to work on the Bakugan line when that was new, way back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It's got a recent reboot. It's been rebooted twice since then. And I used to approach that line, and I was like, I could do so much cool stuff. I only managed to get one successful idea across the table to like these big wigs, as I like to call them. And that was when I wanted to do sort of like mech suits for them. So I thought, all right, we've got these really cool Marvel-like monsters. How can we sort of improve something from that? Put them in a giant robot and make them fight each other with that. And they sort of like, they said, right, we'll run with that, but we want to make them orange separate figures. I was like, no.
Yeah.
They did that in the end, and that's what actually killed the franchise. I was like, I felt a bit guilty because I kind of killed it, but at
Wow.
the same time, I was like, maybe if you went with my idea a little bit. But yeah,
Andrew, like you're
that's
so speaking my language. I sat in a meeting one time when I worked on Thomas and Friends, and this is years ago, so hopefully I'm way past my NDA and stuff. But you know, it's just a meeting, so whatever. But like we're in this meeting and there's like 60 people in there. I'm sure most of them are making over $100,000 a year. And they're discussing whether or not they should put wood chips into the plastic to keep a certain amount of wood in the Thomas wood line, which I'm the lead designer on at this time. So we're in this meeting and this lady comes on the phone, and there's, like I said, 60 people in the room. This lady comes on the phone and she's telling us the data. No one likes the wood chips. It looks ugly. Don't do the wood chips. And then I swear to God, it took 4 more meetings for them to 86 the wood chips. And I'm sitting in there as a new person to Mattel. I'm a lead designer only because they had to have one.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's get rid of the wood chips. And they're like, whoa, slow down. I mean, it's so crazy.
I was a bit like that. I mean, again, going back to when I was a Spin Master working with the Bakugan line,
Yeah.
they wanted this idea of like, right, we need something, we need another name attached to this to make it big, and they went with a Marvel collab, and I thought, okay, where are we going to go with this? We're going to get like Thor playing with these Marvel monsters things, and I was like, no, we're going to make the characters as these Bakugan monsters, and they did a couple. They did a Wolverine one, a Spider-Man one, and a symbiote Spider-Man one. And I was sitting there, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I get it. Marvel, the MCU wasn't a thing back then. It kind of was. I think the first Incredible Hulk movie came out with Edward Norton was just about out then, so there wasn't an MCU then. So
I
we did
love
like
that movie.
comic book versions of them, and I was like, okay, yeah, Marvel's somewhat known. It's a comic industry, I don't know. They're superheroes. They're going to be known to certain kids. But I was like, Bakugan of itself is a whole separate entity. It's technically it's not even an American brand. It's a Japanese brand that again Spin Master just bought over, kind of like what Hasbro did with Takara and Transformers and things like
Yeah.
that. And towards that point, I was like, I can see the door. I can see the door, and I'm close to sort of like going. And I was like, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. So I was like, I loved working on that, and I love designing things, and I love being creative and things like that. And that's why I relate to you guys so much, because I can see how passionate you are about the creation. I mean, harkening back to the Bandito, you're not just making a car, you're making characters, you're making a comic book design with it. And I'm all in for that. And I'm like, I can't wait for the story of our frog. I mean, a little bit, little bit laughing because you took my mother-in-law's likeness for the opera character, but that's just me being petty.
Bro, it's like I so relate to it. I love my mother-in-law passed away, but we were so different from each other, but I so get the joke because it's endearing, right? You love them, but they're older
Yeah.
and they're weird.
we
But no, I
we
laughed
always
so
have like
hard.
little
That was so
passive
funny.
digs at each other because to her, I'm like, she always could. I don't mean to be. This might sound a bit of the R word, but because she's proper, like she's fully Japanese, and she goes, "Oh,
Yeah,
you're white English boy,"
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, "You crazy old
You're
Japo."
a guilo.
She goes, like, "You corrupted my daughter," and I'm like, "No, she corrupted me, if anything."
100%. Bro, but the thing is that like as a creative person
Yeah,
who grew up in the 80s with this explosion of toys and colors and story. And I want to get back to story real quick because you hit a soft spot in my heart. But when Pokemon and stuff came out, I was a little older, but I was like, wow. this is so different from our culture that it just, my head started exploding with ideas. Same thing with One Punch Man, where it's like, oh my God, the character design and the way you think about designing characters is so radically different than what I think about, that it gave me this whole new playground kind of intellectually and design wise to think about.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like when me and my wife are talking like stuff about like our childhoods and whatnot, because we met in like sort of middle school, high school. She was one of those students that came over as part of a program where different cultures would swap children in schools. Like they'd take like two or three students and they'd go to each other's countries and learn about the cultures and
Yes.
languages and things like that. And she came over and she was partnered up with me for whatever reason. I think my teacher hated me for that day for some reason. So, and she started like, I was playing with my Pokemon. I was playing on my Game Boy, the old Game Boy Color. And she goes like, "Oh, you like Pokemon? I'm from where Pokemon come from." And like, she speaks proper English now, but back then
Yeah.
she had very broken English.
Yeah.
And I
But
was
that's
like,
what
"Do
you
you want
liked,
to
right?
play?"
Like that's the quirky thing.
Exactly. And she sort of introduced me to the whole world of like that culture, and I was like, this is so different to what I have. I had Power Rangers and Action Man and things like that. And I was like, when she showed me like all these Japanese animes, I'm trying to remember the one that she really got me on. I think it was like Death Note or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this airs to kids
Yeah.
in your country, and I was like, okay. Yeah, and I got sucked into that one. I was like, why don't we have things like that over here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what we have is great. Like, I prefer older cartoons such as
Yeah.
like Power Rangers and the GI Joe stuff. And I'm trying to think what my what was it called? Danger Mouse and things like that.
Oh yeah,
I
I remember
loved those
Danger
things as
Mouse.
a kid. Like, even though they were before my time,
But you see the
but I was like,
quality in it.
imagine exactly. There was such an endearing qualities, things like that, and I was like, no wonder why a lot of these older classic looking toys, like take Ramen with his Machina line, which is basically the mask line.
Yeah.
Like there is so many markets for these things, and it's like it's a shame that companies don't take these risks like this anymore. I remember the days where Toys R Us was a thing, and you'd see massive murals of like Star Wars and things like that. Nowadays, you go to like a Target or a Walmart, and half of it's on clearance. And I'm like, what happened? What happened? Prices, yeah, prices went up. That's definitely a big factor. But it's
You
like,
know, when we were going through design school, Eddie and I, one of the things early on, they said, they held up a phone and they said, this is your biggest competition. And I think, you know, what's happened, what I noticed is, you know, I used to know how to puppeteer my GI Joes. I had this whole system for where I could puppeteer their legs with this, and I could do their two arms with this, and I could make my own sound effects, and I could put them in slow motion, and they could fall off the couch, and like all this stuff. But now
mm,
video games are largely that avatar for you. So like, I don't see that kids need the necessity to physically play with this thing to embody that adventure anymore. And I think one thing that I'm also looking at down the line, Andrew, sorry, I'm stealing your show again,
no,
is that
you go ahead, man. Go off, man. Go off. Let's
I
go.
want to bring, instead of, you know, in school, they're like, oh, video games, that's the anti-toy thing. I'm like, no. We need to emulate that more. We need to bring a little bit of the game into the toy again so that the action figure isn't just a statue that you can move. You actually engage it in battle and you're kind of forced to play with it. So this idea we Eddie and I have had for years is battle odds. We want to take our world, and now that we know about 112, we want to make it in 112, but we want to provide characters with story and with an element of strategy. So that, let's say your character that you buy comes with a vinyl unfoldable little section of a map, and then your friend buys one, and his also has a different section of the map. And then when you meet up and have a beer or something on a Saturday night, and you're all playing, you know, instead of poker, you're engaging your favorite character in strategic battle. That character, like, I look at it like League of Legends, but turn-based in a way, where you've got your tanks, you've got your your water characters and your elements, and like that is all based in a system that you can engage your favorite characters in battle with. So for me, excuse me, I feel like the future of action figures is more like trying to emulate video games and bring that spirit of projecting yourself into that toy more than the video game, and you might have something here, you know?
Exactly. I mean, I love that idea, especially like, to me, I had this like idea for like when Hasbro brought out the Dungeons and Dragons line, when they was doing that. I thought, you have got such a perfect opportunity to do something so different and yet so cool, because Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop game at its core.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a whole online thing about it. I play it myself. I used to play it every Sunday with my friends and whatnot. And I thought, right, you have the ultimate opportunity here. You can make these 1/12 6-inch scale action figures of Dungeons and Dragons characters and creatures and things like that, and have them come with like sections, like little diorama pieces, and you can put them on a tabletop and you can play a Dungeons and Dragons game with them. And I was like, you have such a unique opportunity, and they just didn't. They just let the line die. And now that you mentioned that, like what you guys want to do, it reminds me of that idea. I was like, you should definitely go for that. That is so unique and so new. Yeah, and I think that will be a hit.
I 100% agree with you, and I just appreciate your passion. So back at you, Andrew, for understanding that idea. I spoke with a guy at Mattel one time, and they tried to do a similar thing with a Halo thing, and it kind of scared me when he talked about it. And I'm like, whoa, this is my idea. I don't want you to know this. But they had a hard time selling it because I don't think they knew how to explain the idea in an elevator pitch kind of way. He's like, well, you have vehicles, and vehicles have hit points, and the hit points are taken away when you battle it, and like people aren't going to understand that. So the reason I call the whole thing Battle Odds is so that there's an element of like understanding right in the title that this is a game. Yes, it's an action figure, but it's also a game.
I think that's where like the uniqueness of that comes from. In like, you can have your action figure and things like that, and that's a whole area of play right there. But then at the end of the day, one thing I always see with collectors and things like, I myself am guilty of it. Like, we just pose them and then put them on a shelf or in a cabinet somewhere, and then it sometimes gets an odd picture for some photography, which, don't get me wrong, wonderful hobby. I love doing it myself. But by also building a game around this figure, it gives it another use, and it gives it some extra life. Because at the end of the day, I used to be an inbox collector. I still am to a degree if it's like a highly valuable exclusive figure, like a Comic-Con exclusive and things like that. I'll keep it in its box. But I'm also like, toys need to be played with. That is their purpose. By keeping them in the plastic prison and just putting it on a shelf and taking it out for the occasional photo, you're ruining its purpose.
Yeah.
So by making a whole game with it.
I 100% agree with that. And it's like, I had to come to this decision in my life as a designer that I wasn't going to keep anything in a box. And I'm with you. Like, if there's a certain thing I love, I'm probably going to, like, I have 1,400 comics right here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a collector.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, as a designer, I have to open the box, and I'm supposed to play with it. And like, that's what they tell you in product design too, is like, pick it up, play with it, understand it on a visceral level, like someone who would get your product is going to. And I decided a long time ago, Andrew, that I have to open the box.
Exactly. I mean, I was the same way. When I used to collect figures and things like that, I used to think, if I pick it up and play with it, I'm going to break it. I used to look at it as if like it was this piece of glass that if I just move it once, snap, it's gone. I've lost it forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm also killing its very purpose with that. Hence why I really love the idea, like your idea of, yes, the figure is a collectible. Take photos with it, pose it, stick it on a shelf for your whole family to go look at and look at. But also, there's a game that you can just pull out of your table drawer or something like that, whack it on the table, and have fun with it. And let your imagination just run wild with it.
Yes.
That's why I said figures die twice, in my opinion. Once when the plastic degrades and it breaks. Two, when your imagination runs out with it.
Oh, amen.
That's my philosophy
I
when it
might
comes to this
steal
sort of
that.
thing.
I
So,
love that. I might steal that, Andrew. No, I couldn't agree more. And like, I want to even push it farther in the sense that when you start off playing the game, your character doesn't have any gear. And this is going to go back to like making the actual dressing of the character important, in the sense that every attribute you add to the character during the game is going to be either a hindrance or a benefit to that character. And you further give depth to the strategy and the gameplay. If it's like, why not include the costuming in the actual gameplay? So like, if you get armor, that should do something, and then it's harder for you to chip away at the hit points of the armor, because now the character's about to die and he gets armor, something. Who knows how it will play out? I don't have to dictate how it plays out. The fun is in letting it play out.
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing I love about like toys in general. You can have a set character like Cobra Commander or anyone, and yeah, they're that character, but they don't have to be in your head. To me, he could be Jim from down the street.
Yeah.
And like, that's the whole fun of it. Like, you can have like, for instance, like I said, back to this. This is just a retro G.I. Joe Snake Eyes body, but it's got a Valverse head on, and as well as his body armor and a gun. This is no one to me yet. I've got no name for him. He's just grunt number one that I've got so far. And I'm like, okay, where can I take this guy? What's his name? What's his backstory? What can I do to make him cooler? And that's what I love about this whole hobby in general. Let your imagination take you there. Don't let anyone laugh at you for it. Don't let anyone say that's wrong. He's this character. You need to keep him pure like this. I hate people like that. I'm like, no.
We've had
he is your character.
Yeah, we've had to face a lot of that kind of attitude early on because of the whole debacle with 112 Garage and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you stress about it and you worry about it because you are putting yourself out there. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's their own insecurities that are kind of coming out. You know what I mean? You can't base a business off what other people think. And you kind of just have to let that go and be like, that's their own thing. Like they're not going to ever take a risk for some reason. And they're just projecting themselves into what they're saying about you trying to take a risk,
I mean, I remember seeing like 112 Garage years ago when it was like new and things like that. And I saw a listing. I think it was on Instagram. I was just browsing through Instagram one day and I saw this 3D image of a car and a petrol pump or something like that. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. What is that? I looked into it and there was a listing on Big Bag Toy Store and I was like, it's a pre-order. I'll follow it. I'll see what's going on with it. And then I remember I was in a Facebook group a couple of years later and I was like, I remember seeing this Mustang-like car. Whatever happened to that? Did that ever get released? Is it somewhere? And then people was like, oh no, he was a scammer and things like that.
Yeah.
And then through that, I found you guys. Someone had shared like your initial 3D image of the Bandito, and I was like, now that looks really cool. And then I looked into it, and then there was people in the comments saying like, isn't this 112 Garage because he was known as 112 Prop Shop? And I was like, it does sound similar, but I can see the differences. It's definitely a different car. And I was like, maybe there's some inspiration there because at the end of the day, people draw inspiration from these things. They do copy each other to a degree, but they throw in more than enough differences. And I saw enough differences in there. I was like, yeah, this is a different thing. So I followed you, and then I was like, oh, they're doing a Kickstarter. And then I found you guys doing live streams. I was like, I'm going to follow this. I want to back this. just to see where it goes. And then I've been with you ever since. So,
Well, it's affirmation to us that like starting the podcast and everything. Like I looked around at other toy companies and I'm like, is anybody doing a podcast? And you can see that they're doing stuff, but it's more like an afterthought. It seems like, oh, hey, we're hanging out after work and let's talk to people. Like I really want to emphasize kind of the entertainment side of what we're doing, because I feel like Odd Frog in the future is going to be based off story, and I want us to kind of embrace the entertainment side or whatever. So I'm constantly thinking about trying to make the podcast like better and more interesting to collectors and customizers. So it's becoming less of an afterthought. But I'm glad, I'm happy to hear you say that, because I really do put a lot of thought into it, especially nowadays, as far as like trying to talk to people that are into what we're doing and making it entertaining at the same time, if that makes sense.
well, I mean, it's in your company name, Odd Frog Entertainment.
Yes.
So,
That's,
yes, there is going to
oh
be
my God.
an entertainment side of it. I mean, the way I look at it, your entertainment comes from your podcasts and your episodes and like your trailers and things, and also the upcoming comic, which I'm looking forward to, by the way, from the
I'll
images that
send
you've teased.
you some
You know,
stuff, Andrew.
I'm a sucker for black and white comic, I will admit.
Awesome. I'll send you
But
some images.
sweet. I'll let me know if I can post them, because I'll post the teasers as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely post them.
But
You'll be the
like
first to post them.
sweet, I get the exclusive.
Yeah, you kind of do, I guess.
Like I
Well,
say, I'm down for the entire ride, the entire way with you guys, because that's what makes me so admired by you. Like I can see your passion, and I can just see how much you want this so badly to succeed, and I guarantee you will succeed if you keep the mentality that you've got and the way that you're going. It will just blow all this negativity out of the water, and people will see that you are genuine and you want this to happen. And I want it to happen for you guys so badly as well. So I think all these great companies start in garages. Like you have Apple, you have like Windows and Microsoft and things like that. All these great companies start from the very bottom in a garage somewhere. And that's one thing I also love about your sort of like marketing as well. You're the 112 garage. You've started in a garage. So it's very interconnected, and I love the passion that you guys just bleed as well. Just not just you, Eddie as well. I mean, Eddie's a fantastic guy. I love Eddie. Is my signal gone again? I swear to God. Trying to modem. Has my signal dropped? Right, no, right, let's just gonna just fiddle around with something. Alright. Well, I'm still gonna fiddle around with a quick something. We'll try plugging in this lead. See if that will. See if that'll boost it. Okay. Right. Spin that back around. I'm hoping. No worries. I thought it might be my signal. So I've put in my extender as well as my charger, because sometimes when my battery gets low, it likes to cut things down. I'll send you the invite back if you want, buddy, because you do get cut off. Let's see. Why is it not letting me? I'm just going to give it a second, because for some reason it won't let me click on the invite tab. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Also, I apologise for any background noise as well. As you can see, my dog is currently sleeping and he snores. Possibly, not sure if you have a webcam or anything like that set up. Not sure if you can send in a request or not, potentially. But, what was I doing? Yeah, it's possibly strange. That's a shame. But love having you on, Kelly. Anyway, it's I'll do it more often at some point when I can set up proper live streaming on my YouTube as well. I'd love to have you on there as well. Do a proper full interview. I think if it allows me to save this, I'll also upload this to the YouTube. But definitely be something I need to do with you guys, you and Eddie, because I love talking to you guys. Okay, now my laptop is not. There we go. Needed to catch up. And you, buddy, if it lets you join in, that'd be great. I'd love to have you back on a little bit more. But if you have to go, I do not mind. Okay, that's the wrong password. Yay! I'm surprised I still remember that. I'm very nervous. Very nervous. Don't get me wrong. I've only ever been out of country once, and that was when I was in Cincinnati. Hence why I've got the Bengals helmet. But that was a long, long time ago. But it's definitely going to be an interesting journey, especially seeing as my wife is currently 7 months pregnant. So she literally just got there before she was no longer allowed to fly. So I think the baby's going to be born over there, which is going to be absolutely tiring, but definitely going to be. I'm learning to read it because obviously signage and things like that, they do have English signage to a certain degree, but it's just going to help even more if I learn how to actually read Japanese as well. So she's teaching me all the symbols and what they mean and stuff like that, and the words that associate them. So she's kind of like my private tutor, but I'm also I'm on Duolingo as well. Thank you. So it's my first as well. I'm gonna have a little girl, which I'm gonna be outnumbered. I'm gonna be outnumbered in all kinds of ways. I'll have my mother-in-law, my wife, and my little girl. They're all gonna gang up on me. So it's definitely a very, very hectic point in life now. But what I'm trying to do is I'm currently on the Frog site as well. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to grab the link. I've just logged into my account to see if I've still got the same password for it. But back in, it's just giving me all my notifications for it now. I'm just gonna click the store. So that way when I actually upload this to YouTube, if it will let me, I can have all your links, so that way everyone can find you. I don't have much of a following, as I said, so I can only apologise for that. My YouTube currently has 100 subscribers, and it was primarily Bakugan content that I was doing, but I'm also diving into the actual action figure scene now. I've just done a video about my little van project. Next up will be next it'll be the figures. I don't know. So I was the same. I kid you not. My wife got me in a traditional Japanese kimono the other day. She was like, "You're going to need to wear this when you come over." I was like, "No, I don't." Thank you. Appreciate the subscription, my buddy. But yeah, like I said, I'll definitely have to get you and Eddie on at some point for maybe a live stream or a pre-recorded sort of episode. I'd love to have you guys on so I can ask you guys more questions and things like that, and you guys can plug yourselves in more, things like that. Hopefully it will reach, and I'll share it to some of the Facebook groups, things like that. At the end of the day, we love you guys. At least I do. And I definitely want to get you guys out there even more to the best of what I can. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but my dog is absolutely snoring his head off. That'd be wonderful. Like I said, I'll have to speak to you and Eddie at some point. And I can't remember his name. You have another guy that's normally with you as well, who does like sort of like the narration as well. Things you had him on last episode with your presentation. If he's also part, I'd love to have all of you guys on. Just that way, because I think you guys can even run a better show than I can. But will it let me do live streams? Because I'm not sure if there was a subscriber limit for it. I might have met it. Create. Well, let me go live on YouTube. Mike. I'll remember that in future. I am terrible with names. I can barely remember my own on a good day. It's let me create a stream, so I'll have to test that out at some point. But that's good to know, so I know it will let me actually do a live stream. I definitely have to get you guys on here. Eddie's joined. Welcome, Eddie. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. We just had Kelly on. How's it going, my man? How's your day going? I believe it's Friday for you guys. Yeah, we've just finished our Friday, so hopefully you're having a good start to the weekend. Any plans for the weekend? Oh, there we go. I did accept it, didn't I? There we go.
I'm back.
Sweet. I missed you, man.
My business partner jumped on. I gotta jump back in, but yeah, my phone died. So if it dies again, sorry about that, bro.
That's okay. I thought it was my signal. I was panicking. I was like, "Am I still live? Holy crap!"
Yeah. Eddie and I, just to reiterate real quick, Andrew, since he's on here, we're planning on going live Sunday to rebuild the Bandito on a live stream on YouTube. We'll see how that goes. It could be a total train wreck.
Hey, those are the most fun kinds, though. You have to admit, when things go wrong, that's when I find out the most fun.
I think, look, like you said earlier, that's the entertainment side of ourselves, and it's in our name, and it's like we got to just kind of throw caution to the wind and let people come in on part of the process, you know?
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about just having fun. By the end of it, even if things go wrong, as long as you're having fun, that's the basis of it. And I reiterate again, you and Eddie just have such passion and drive for it all. It's great.
I think at the end of the day, it's like you said, if we're enjoying it, then hopefully other people get the same vibe, you know? And that's really the name of the game. That's what Eddie and I are trying to do. When you're at Mattel, and I'm sure you know this too, Andrew, with Spin Master. By the way, I interviewed for Spin Master, and when I walked in the building, the two guys sitting at the desk had cat ears that could move and had lights on them, and they were laughing like uncontrollably. I was like, oh yeah, I could work here. This is awesome. But
I'm not going to bash Spin Master. I mean, I could. There were certainly some people there that, you know, when someone deserves a slap. I met a fair few there, but the team that I was a part of, wonderful people. It was a great place to work at from time to time. Yeah, it had its stresses. Every workplace does. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this kind of thing in this kind of community, as long as you're having fun, it's the best way. And like I said, you and Eddie just bleed this passion and enthusiasm. And I think that's why so many people love you guys, like, especially me. We love you guys because we just see that passion. And I want to be a part of it. And I'm just like, I'm in for it all the way. And I hope Eddie feels the same way. I mean, it goes out to both you and Eddie.
I mean, I think Eddie and I feed each other that kind of passion. Like, if we forget, at one moment, I'll be like, man, this is like not working right. And he's like, no, dude, this is good. And then the other moment, it's me kind of feeding him. And I think we play off each other. I mean, at the end of the day, both of us are a little bit fearless, but it's still like you're in tune to what people are saying. You have to be. But at the same time, you have to let that go. We're here for us and the people that get us. And this is our sandbox, so to speak. You either want to play in it or you don't, and we just hope you get it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I say. I can't stop repeating it. Like, the passion that you guys have, not just for the bandito, like, especially when like Eddie talks about mezcos and things like that. I never even heard of mezco before until Eddie mentioned it, and I started looking into it. And I was like, I can see why he loves these. These are really cool.
Yeah.
I want to pick a few up myself. Like, they do all kinds of stuff like soft goods, and I really like the Gomez sort of figure, and I think Eddie showed one. And I thought I didn't make the connection there, and I was like, that's actually really cool. It's really different.
Yeah, we had to make sure he fit in our car. Even if you had to pull the seat out, we had to make sure that Agent Gomez could fit in the car.
Yeah. It's like I said, passion like that bleeds through, and I think that's why a lot of collectors look into like these sort of independent companies now more than the big wigs, as I'll call them. And
you know, I think the future
they can relate that passion.
The future is going to be more about independents like us. I really think so, because, you know, as 3D printing and stuff like that comes out, you're gonna rely less on the major companies that have manufacturing, and you're gonna be more into the independent developer and buying, maybe it's even a digital download. If you have a proper 3D printer at home, and I'm not saying the technology is there yet, it's definitely not. We have one, and we have a couple, and they're like finicky.
Yeah.
But once it gets there, once somebody like an Apple or a Steve Jobs gets involved with 3D printing, you're not necessarily going to need anymore the big companies to deliver their ideas to you. You're going to buy into what I'm thinking, and what Eddie and I are heavily betting on, is the customization. Our marketplace is you and Axion Figs and people that actually love toys. So we're going to gear ourselves towards that in the future, and making sure that the design and the forward thinking and playability is still in there, even though a lot of people put it.
It's definitely cutting out. I think you might be dying again there, buddy.
Yeah. Listen, Andrew, much love, my brother. I'm gonna let you go. I got to get back to work. But
no problem, my man. Appreciate you coming on, as always.
And thanks for having me on. And there's my business partner and best friend right there laughing at us. That's great. But yeah, brother, thank you for letting me come on to your show and talk and stuff like that. Much appreciated.
No,
let's talk privately about you in Japan and Banditos, and you know, let's work something out.
Absolutely. I mean, my DMs are open to you guys all day, every day. So definitely love to, like I said, I'll arrange with you and Eddie at some point to potentially do a proper YouTube live stream or a
We
pre-recorded
would
show
love
at
to
some
do
point. As
that.
I'd
We
love
would
to get
love
you
to do
guys on.
that. Yeah, we would love to do that.
I'll definitely DM you at some point, either later on or possibly tomorrow. As obviously time zones are different for
For
us,
sure.
but we'll get that arranged. And much love to you guys. I will. Hopefully, this will save the live stream, and I'll upload it and I'll tag you guys and share it about.
Absolutely.
So much love, my brother,
Much love,
and
my
as well
brother.
as you, Eddie. Thank you for stopping
Hey,
by.
good journey on your upcoming life change, bro. I'm excited for you, and I hope you can broadcast some of it because that'll be exciting for us.
Thank you. Definitely looking forward to it. And it's definitely exciting. So I really appreciate that.
Good for you, man.
But
Good for you.
I shall let you go and get on with it. I'll need to see if I can save this and upload it.
Sounds good, my brother. Much love, Andrew.
And you. See you soon, man.
Later, bro.
Bye. Alrighty. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end the live stream here. Appreciate everyone stopping by. Kelly, Eddie, Axion, everyone. Much appreciated. I'm going to, hopefully this saves. I'll try and download myself and I'll upload it to my personal YouTube. So keep an eye out for that. It's, let me just plug my YouTube real quick. It's Minix, same spelling as this, maybe in all caps, but without the 2629. Hopefully I'll get Eddie and Mike and Kelly on perhaps a podcast episode myself. We'll talk some toys and things like that and all kinds of things. I'd frog them what they enjoy. Hopefully take some of you guys' questions as well for them. But thank you all for stopping by, and I shall see you guys very soon.